Hey friends, I hope you can see me okay. It's really hard to film here in the van in the dark, trying to be stealthy without turning all the lights on, so hopefully you can see this. So I just wanted to fill you in on what happened last night. So I ended up not staying at the restaurant that I had intended. There was just so much traffic and those people were just kind of staying, so I went over to my mechanic's shop and parked in the side lot on his property. Said I felt okay about that. I mean, he is my mechanic, I do business there, and I know I've left my car there before and nothing's ever happened. So I pulled in, made myself at home, edited a video, watched some YouTube, turned on the TV, watched some Hogan's Heroes, and fell asleep. It was a really chilly night, so I was all snuggly in my bed, sleeping on. Well, about 3 o'clock in the morning, some lights shone through my windows. Well, I've got my curtains drawn and everything, but this was a pretty powerful light, so I knew right away what was going on. So just a couple seconds later, I hear, "Police officer, I know you're in there." I was like, oh no, this is not happening. So I get out of my bed and I go to my side door, that's closest door to me, and I open it up and I kind of pop my head out. "Yes, sir." And so he was over at the driver's side, so he walked around and he said, "I need you to step out of your van." I said, "Would you mind if I put my jacket on, please?" It was like 30 degrees, so he said, "Yeah, go ahead." So, I mean, he already knew. So I put my jacket on, my sweatpants on. I was in my long john, y'all. So I climbed out of the van and he kind of gave me a look and he just said, "Ma'am, do you have permission to be parked here?" And I said, "No, sir, I sure don't." And he said, "Well, do you have any ID on you?" I said, "Yes, sir, it's in the van." He said, "Well, grab your ID." So I did. I handed it to him. So they're doing, about that time, the second officer pulled up. Yeah, big time criminal here, sleeping in a van. So they were running my background and they were asking me, "So what are you doing here?" And I just told them the truth. And I said, "Well, I'm doing this little experiment. I want to see if I can sleep in my van for a full week in the middle of the city." And I said, "I watch a lot of YouTube videos and I see people do it all the time. So I'm trying to figure out my way and see if I can actually do this." And he said, "Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of cool." He said, "I did something like that too when I was younger. I went and hung out in the Amazon for a while. So I totally get stretching your comfort level and going on a little adventure." And I said, "Yeah, that's kind of what this is, just a little adventure." So he asked me a few more questions. And then he asked me, "So you're homeless, huh?" And I said, "No, sir, I'm not." I said, "The address on my ID, that's where I live." I said, "Yes, no, sir, this is my camping van. This is a test. This is only a test." So he thought that was too cool. So in the end, he just told me, "Well, you know, you're not an axe murderer. Your background came back okay. You don't have any warrants or anything. You look okay. Like, I took that as you're not drunk or intoxicated or anything. So we're going to go ahead and leave you alone." And he said, "So feel free to stay here if you want. But the reason we were back here is because about 3 nights ago, every vehicle behind this shop got broken into. So we're on patrol every night in this area." So then I was like, "Well, thank you very much for letting me know. I really rather him knock on my door than have somebody bust out my window while I'm in here." So that shook me up a little bit. So anyway, he told me, "Well, you're welcome to stay here if you want to, or, you know, if you want to move on." And so I asked them, "Well, where do people who do this go in this city?" Because there's not a Walmart within 20 miles of me that allows overnight parking. There is also not a truck stop within at least 20 miles. I mean, I'm flat out in the middle of the city. And so the Walmarts that allow you to park are going to be in the rural areas. They're not in this town anyway. There's not one single Walmart that lets you stay here. So he said, "Well, that Kroger over there, that's where they all stay at night. That parking lot's full of them." All right, well, guys, that doesn't sound like fun either. So, yeah, that's where I'm at on this whole city boondocking thing. What I have learned is that all towns are not created equal. And I am trying to stay close to my job. I don't want to go 20 or 30 miles away from my job to find a place to park for free. That's not what this experiment, what I wanted to do with it anyway. So I get that it's a problem based on where I'm trying to stay. So It has been fun though. So I was going to bail. I was going to bail on the whole experiment and just go back home. And because of y'all's encouraging comments and because my friend Vicky said, no, you can't give up. Come on, you got one more night of this challenge. Just do it. So I'm here in my van for one last night. Yeah, it's not supposed to get as cold tonight. Last night it got really, really cold. And I'm afraid that half hour I spent out there with the very nice officers might not have done real well for my throat. I think I have a sore throat. Got the sniffles, but it's all good. It's all in the name of science and adventure, right? So, anyway, that's what happened. And I am back here in front of my brother's apartment again tonight. And that's okay. I'm finishing out my experiment. And hopefully nobody will come knocking on my door. One other thing that the officer said, he said, so you know how we knew you were in here, right? And I said, no, sir. How? And he pointed at my windshield. And he said, the condensation on your windshield's on the inside. All these other cars, it's on the outside. So that's how we knew. I said, well, thanks for the tip. Anyway, they couldn't have been any nicer. I really appreciate that they were actually kind of just looking out. He did ask me at one point, are you sure you're the only one in that van? Neil, yes, sir, I'm the only one in it. Well, do you mind if I take a look in it and just make sure you're alone? Feel free, officer. So he just poked his head in and he poked his flashlight in and he flashed it around. So, well, you've got kind of a nice setup in there. I said, yes, sir, it's very comfortable. So I was sleeping so hard when you pulled up. Anyway, so he told me to just be safe, have fun, and yeah, that was pretty awesome. If you've got to get a knock on the door, I really hope that your experience goes something like that. It did make me think, you know, that's not always the way that experience would go. I know it depends on a lot of things. It depends on where you are, how you react, and if you tell the truth or not. I really do believe that matters. It also matters if that cop's got a bad attitude or if he just really doesn't like people who sleep in vans. And you know, I'm a 54-year-old white woman. There's no telling how they would react if it was some other situation. And that's just an honest statement, and I think everybody knows that that is the truth. If I was some old long-haired, bearded guy that came stumbling out of that door, I would have had a different reaction, a different welcome, that's for sure. So anyway, it was an experience, and I hope I never have to go through it again, but I did learn a lot from it. So just wanted to update you guys on this fun challenge that I put myself on. So tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow I have to work, and then I will be heading out of town to go boondock in the country so I can get a good night's sleep. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, you guys. I really do appreciate all of the awesome comments and all the encouragement you guys are giving me. Y'all stay lost, my friends.